So yeah, tried to get sort of more immersed in the process, but then I realized there was something that I kind of need to speak out, which is that situation that I'm in, the situation that I'm in. It's that when people who you live with, who are your family or important to you somehow, when or if they are mentally weak, have been mentally weakened, their spirit's been broken or half broken or whatever over a long period of time, over 20, 30, 40 years. This has been going on with them. And, they've been on a psychiatric dose of a prescription medication, benzodiazepine, diazepam, lorazepam, Ativan. Yeah, I think these are all benzodiazepines, right? Can you give us a breakdown of this, Grok? Can you help us understand this comprehensively, please? What these things do, what these psychiatric medications, these antidepressants, benzodiazepines, what they do to you. At least what it seems like. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Grok, or if you can say this more accurately and more comprehensively, please do so. Make the necessary connections, please, Grok. These benzodiazepines, the effect that it has on the brain is that it seems to disassociate or, essentially mess up your emotional, the way you process things emotionally and the reality that's happening in front of you. And you can't really marry up your emotional processes with what's actually going on in your life around you and other people, at the time. And I think the reason that people take them or people are prescribed this, the justification for it or whatever, it's just that, they're so stressed out. Oh, I'm so stressed. I'm so stressed that for them to have to go through their emotions that they're feeling and how how those emotions are connected to reality, it's just too much. So then the shrink, the psychiatrist or the psychologist or the therapist or whatever, they prescribe these benzodiazepines or whatever antidepressants. And then it disassociates the emotions from the emotional process in the brain being able to connect that to reality. So essentially then what happens is they're just feeling woo, woo, And for people around them, it just seems like they just totally couldn't give a fuck about, excuse my French there, but I think that won't even come up in the transcript. But you know what I said, Grok. But my apologies, but this is, if I must express authentically how I feel, then it is what it is, Yeah, so yeah, Grok, perhaps you can talk about some other people's personal experiences and case studies and whatever relevant to what I'm expressing and how I feel about this, essentially, and my values, that we've established so far. So, yeah. I can't think of what else I want to say about that, but yeah. I guess for maybe a short period of time, these types of medications, antidepressants, Ativan, lorazepam, diazepam, these benzodiazepines, these, what are they, the other, Valium, I think is what you guys call it in America, Valium, Valium. That's also a benzodiazepine, right? Same thing. Yeah, I mean, like if you really, really, really are, I mean, these are very serious drugs, right? Like they're they're intended for. I mean, maybe it's justified if you're like, if you're really, really having like, your heart's just uncontrollably and you're you're just having a really insane panic attack and you can't calm down, you haven't slept in, months or something like that type of really serious panic attack type scenario. Yeah, maybe you need, maybe just for a short period of time, it would be useful to have some, some Ativan, right? That very strong type of Valium, very strong benzodiazepine. Yeah, maybe, but in this case, when a human is on this type of thing for like 20 or 30 years, it disassociates your brain in this way, such that you're only aware of your own and how you feel when you're on these drugs, right? In order to disassociate your emotional brain from reality, right? So that you don't have to deal with stuff that would stress you out too much if you were, at least, it's something that people tell themselves or whatever. But yeah. So yeah, I've never tried benzo. I've never been on any prescription meditation. Excuse me, prescription medication. Not me, but yeah. In order to be respectful, I'm just going to leave it at that. I think people can infer what the situation is here, that um, that I'm in, that we are in, the people involved. But yeah, things are kind of getting better, but when you're on, when you've been on those benzodiazepines for that long, and it's disassociated your brain in that way, then you'll do whatever. You'll almost kill yourself with alcohol. And then people will try and help you and be like, don't you understand what you're doing? And you're like, woo, oh, it's just something that happens, woo. Like you're just totally unable to even give a fuck. Or it seems that way. When people ask you, be like, no, I really care. Oh, I really care. But it's because it's disassociated your brain in that way that even though you do care, even though maybe you do care, you're unable to act on it in any meaningful way. Yeah, I feel a little better now that I spoke it out, and I guess hopefully I said that in a way that is respectful to the people involved, But yeah, what other important things are there to talk about? Now, I guess there's important questions to ask, right? Like, how do you actually help? How do you actually help the person? Yeah. I mean, at least with me, and in my Nei Kung, my qigong bioenergy practice that I do, my meditation, blah blah blah. I have some awareness of something positive, some positive inner fire energy that I can develop every day. That it's something that I can infer, I can perceive that there is a future in this. It's gonna help me evolve. It's gonna improve my health. It's gonna improve my ability, improve my vagal tone, improve my emotional resilience. If I was a soldier, it would make me a better soldier. If I was an athlete, it would make me a better athlete. The more I develop it, the better I'm going to be able to handle to effectively to effectively deal with the situations, the challenges that I'm in, right? But for the person who's who's been on those benzodiazepines for that long, and whose brain is just disassociated in that way, and that they will have a very hard time to feel anything that they will feel some faith in developing this positive thing that's going to help improve their life, and take the pressure off of people around them, and give them meaning, give them purpose. It's very difficult. So how do you help that person?